Hello and welcome to this Friends Journal author chat. I am Gail Whiffen, the associate editor of Friends Journal, and we are with Emily Higgs today. Hi, Emily.
Hi, Gail.
So Emily Higgs is the conference coordinator of the Continuing Revolution Conference, also called YAFCON, for Young Adult Friends Conference, which is an annual 6-day event held at Pendle Hill Quaker Study Center in Wallingford, Pennsylvania. A young adult friend herself, Emily's article, Continuing Revolution, appears in the September issue of Friends Journal. There's that. And she describes the event as a spiritually grounded space in which young adult friends can come together in community to confront the tough challenges of today and to strengthen ourselves as Quaker activists. Emily is joining us today from San Francisco, California. So I'm going to start with a quote from your article. Young adults have so often been the prophetic voices that push us to grow, to evolve, and in many ways to return to our core. You also mention in your article that Quakers have a history of young friends gathering together to be empowered in community and to enact change. Why do you think young adults have this potential to be leaders in our community and in the world?
I think that is a really great question, and I think that we could attribute the reasons to a lot of different things, but I guess what I attribute it to is that young adults, by and large, have not yet been conditioned into a sense of defeat, I guess, that we haven't I don't know, that we're still able to sort of cling to this sense that the world should be different and better than it is, and that we have the capacity and potential to affect that change. And so people in their 20s and 30s, I think, throughout history have been really really integral in any sort of societal change in which they are often the people saying, no, this is not good enough and we can be better, and I believe that we will be better. And so that kind of optimism and energy is so motivating and has such a potential to create really, really positive movements. So that's, I guess, I don't think Quakers are in any way unique. I think that has been modeled in so many communities throughout history, but I think that's where I see the potential of young adults as it relates to social change.
Mm-hmm. And then the other aspect of it in your article is the faith part. So the subtitle for your article is Young Adult Friends at the Intersection of Faith and Action, so adding that Quaker element to it. Can you explain a little bit more about what you mean by this and how those two things, faith and action, come together at the conference and why the combination is so powerful?
Mm-hmm. I think we all know that you can have faith without action, and that you can have a ton of action and activism without any spiritual grounding. And I think in my own search for meaning and where I want to put my own energies and live my life, I'm always looking for sort of the sweet spot at like an intersection of powerful motivators. And for me, my own spirituality and my own belief that that there is much needed change in the world, they are just doubly powerful when taken together. And I find that that's true for many people. And sometimes I think I start the article by talking about how I don't even know if I can really, they're inextricably linked for me. So my faith and my activism are really, really combined, and I don't know really where one starts and one ends. And I think that that's really powerful. So at the conference, we really are striving to create a space that is spiritually grounded so that we can grapple with these huge questions of justice and peace and radical reform from a place of this deeply rooted faith. And for us, that looks like worship every day, a lot of attention to the spiritual components of the issues that we're discussing. And it also really revolves around bringing program leaders that are modeling that in their own lives. So what does it look like to walk the talk in terms of being somebody with a strong faith commitment in your life, but also somebody who is out there on the front lines make change. And so by bringing program leaders of all ages and of a lot of different diverse faith traditions, I think we are trying to model for participants what that can look like in an individual's life, and the power of it if it is what you're seeking yourself.
That's a good little preview of the kinds of stuff someone could expect
Mm-hmm.
at the 6 day conference. So you said yourself that faith and action is both important parts of your life. How did you personally get involved in Pendle Hill's Continuing Revolution Conference, and what is it that you do in your role?
Mm. I got involved in a very sort of synchronistic, beautiful moment where there were two rivers of conversation happening at the same time. I was involved with Quaker Earth Care Witness, that focuses primarily on environmental justice, and they were looking at a forum in which young adult Quakers could really engage topics of eco-justice and that work. And at the same time, Pendle Hill was evaluating its own young adult programming and trying to really establish or listen to the needs of what young adults were looking for, what would really serve, and what that could look like. And so I, coming from a Quaker Earth Care Witness place of wanting to create a forum for young adults to really engage with one another, was in touch with Pendle Hill and found out about this other work that they were doing, and we sort of all brainstormed together. There were a lot of young adults involved in that process, but we came up with the idea of a 6-day intensive training-oriented conference that would take place at Pendle Hill that has a broader focus than environmental issues, but really that is, so I think we all know, is at the heart of almost everything that we are talking about in terms of justice today. And so we came up with the conference, and I was fortunate enough to be in a place in my life where I could assume the role of coordinator for the pilot year. And I have continued with that role ever since. And we are fortunate this year to actually have a new assistant coordinator on board. So we are in an opportunity of having new leadership, and we're lucky to have Katrina McQuail joining us in the coordination of the conference this year. So it's pretty exciting.
Okay, great. So when is the next conference? Is it June every year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we are always generally going to be the first week in June. This year it's June 5th through 10th, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope that time works for as many people as possible, but it happens every year, so.
Yeah, and what's the theme this year or next year?
Well, we're going to be focusing on equality, which is such a rich and challenging and super dynamic conversation to be had in Quakerism and the wider world. And like with every year, we choose a Quaker testimony, and then we look at it in its most expansive capacity. So we've done thus far simplicity, stewardship, and community. Mm-hmm. And so equality is what we're tackling next. And the program is very much still in development, so I can't give a ton of specifics yet, but I think it's going to be, as always, a range of experiential workshops and inspiring people coming to talk, and hands-on skill building in terms of activism tools, as well as just arts and music and fellowship and all sorts of other things. So it's really it's always a very rich experience no matter what we focus on, but equality is our focus this year.
Very cool. And where can people go to find out more information and to sign up for the conference?
So Pendle Hill's website, which is www.pendlehill.com/YAFCON, is where you can find information specifically about the conference. And it has a lot of frequently asked questions type information, but then it also has my contact information, and it has a link to the application, because we have to limit the number of participants just to make sure that it's a really interactive experience. We limit the number of participants to 45, so we accept applications on a rolling basis as a result of that. But anybody out there who considers themselves a young adult, we sort of consider that 18 to 35, but we're pretty flexible on the 35 end of the thing. So, anybody who considers themselves a young adult, who considers themselves a Quaker, or is simply interested and curious about Quakerism, and who really has a passion for what the world could look like and wants to play a role, no matter what that role might be, in bringing that change about.